The second line is tri Túc Tối Phú. Tri means to remember, to know, to take care of, to master. Túc means enough. Yeah. It's a very wonderful character. Túc has two meanings. One means the foot. Another meaning, it means enough. And I love to share this with the young people too. I said, check this out. This is a mouth, right? Or it stands for the head. On top of the body, one arm, two legs. Can you see it? Now, do you still have a head? Yeah? Your mind is still working? Good enough, right? You still got a body? Beautiful body, gorgeous bodies. Doesn't matter how tall or short, how big or small. Doesn't matter what color, what gender, what orientation. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, as it is. Do you have one arm? You got two. And you still got two legs. Does that make you enough? A little louder, more convincing. Is that enough? Are you enough? Do you have enough? Do you need to make yourself great again? Actually, all we need to do is to be aware that we are enough. So, then it's not to make ourselves, what is the word? To be too content and then you don't, complacent. It doesn't mean to be complacent. But actually, when you feel that you are enough, you have enough, then you operate on this ground of enoughness, of adequacy. Versus when you feel you don't have enough, you're not enough. You operate on this ground of insufficiency, of like lacking. You're not good enough. So it doesn't matter how striving you are. You still feel it's never good enough. You still beat yourself down, just like a boxer, punching the opponent. You keep punching the opponent, the fall down, the get up, the fall down, the get up, but at some point they were not able to get up anymore. Well, that's what we do to ourselves. We punch ourselves. You are so stupid. You can't do anything. You're not going to be able to do that. That is punching ourselves. That is from the ground of not having enough, not being enough. And sadly, many of us operate on that level. As children, young people, as adults, we can be very successful and yet we feel so inadequate. So to know that you have enough, that you are enough, that is the greatest wealth. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that awesome? Phú means wealth. That is your greatest wealth. So if you want to make yourself great again, make sure you know you're enough. As you are. Yeah? Tri Túc Tối Phú. And it's very simple. And in the spirit of interbeing. Have you ever seen this bean? It's a yin-yang bean. The half white has the black dot, and the half black has a white dot. This is a model somebody made for me. I actually have some yin-yang beans here, actual ones. I can offer them to you at the end. in the white there is the black. And in the black there is the white. This is because that is. That is because this is. This is not because that is not. So in a society where it is so divisive, so toxic, we try to exclude one another. But everything about us, about our body, about our life, about nature, everything teaches us about interbeing. That we are in each other. I am because you are. My birthday was on the day that the children came, on Friday, and they sang me a happy birthday, a very special one. I had never heard it before. And at the end they sang, Sister D, may you live long and happy. And tears streamed down, and I said to them, I live long and happy in you. When we learn to take good care of ourselves, to know that we are enough, we will avoid many unnecessary thoughts, feelings, activities that only cause us more pain and insecurity and sadness. So that is a way to take care of our good health, physical health, and mental health. The health of our society, the health of Mother Earth, we will not exploit ruthlessly, mindlessly. We learn to say, that's enough. I talk to children about electronics. And I asked how many of you spend more than 1 hour on I asked if they had iPhones. Amazingly enough, 21 children, but only about 4 of them raised their hands that they actually had their iPhones. And I said, how many of you spend more than 1 hour, 2 hours on the phone? Only 2, 3 of them, those that have their phones. Most of the children said that they don't have their own electronics, and their parents only allow them to use the phone 1 hour in the weekend. Now, these are very smart parents. I hope you are also smart parents. Yeah. I talk about many parents allow electronics be the babysitters for their children. And one actually be the babysitter for my parents. You know? And I talk to them of how, using electronics so much, especially at their age, and actually at any age, it rewires our brain. Whatever you use, it will be strengthened through neuroplasticity. It will be strengthened. Whatever you use frequently, it becomes stronger, more efficient. Whatever that you don't use, then it will atrophy. So I explained to them, it's like when you exercise, if you lift away only one arm, day after day, what happens to the other arm? They say, it becomes weak. I said, what about the 2 legs? About everything? And then one said, they call that brain rot. Wow, amazing. They were very aware. Yeah, brain rot. Say, yeah, call it by its true name, right? Well, many of us do let our brain rot quite a bit. So, to know that it's actually the greatest health, the greatest benefit, is to protect our body and mind. I feel very blessed living in a community when we have, activities throughout the day We go to listen to a Dharma talk, or to do sitting meditation, to eat in silence, to listen to a teaching, or to even to a meeting. All these activities give us a chance to walk mindfully in walking meditation, or just to sit and breathe and open our minds and hearts to receive the Dharma like this. You know, I have elder sisters who are elderly. One sister, she's sitting over there. She's 97 years old. She used to go to the scheduled activities, all of them, until in her 80s. Only the last few years that she really cannot go anymore. But she still shows up for Dharma talks. And you know what? In the morning when we go for sitting meditation, at 5:30 when I leave the nunnery, she's already up. And she sits at her own altar, in front of the altar in her own room, and she starts chanting. That's very important. When we're young and healthy and we don't have like a practice, whether it's a spiritual practice to come back to ourselves, you know, or to do yoga, or to sit quietly. If we don't have that, when we're older and our health worsens, you know, and we feel useless because we're not productive anymore, what do we have to take refuge in? We take refuge in the screen. Moment after moment, day after day, we sit, right? And I thought about that. What's the difference between spiritual practitioners back then, you know, like we talk about Zen masters going into the mountain, living by themselves. They also isolated themselves. So how is it different from this modern day and age where so many people, young people and not so young people, isolating themselves? What's the difference? Well, now we just sit in front of the screen. We interact with nobody, and yet we consume so much from the screen. Whereas people who live in the mountains, right? They live with nature. They cultivate their own garden, make their own food. They interact with the animals, right? Their mind becomes more and more spacious with time, not more and more cluttered. You see? So like if you have this awareness, then cultivate a practice. Doesn't matter how you are, how old you are right now. Take refuge in that. Have time when you actually don't have to think of anything, when you can actually just enjoy the non-toothache state and be grateful throughout the day. You know, you're driving and the phone rings, you breathe in and out and smile. Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm still healthy. I can still drive. I can still provide for my family. I'm still young. You can be young even if you are 80, if your mind is young and grateful. You see? So, tituk, to know that you have enough, to know that you're enough, that is the way to cultivate health. And know that is the greatest wealth. Now, let us enjoy one sound of the bell. We go to the third line. turn the clock, Sam. Let me look at it. Thank you. Hậu vi tối hữu means honesty. Honesty is the greatest friend. Honesty is the greatest friend. Long ago, I read this story, and it made a deep impression on me. So the story goes, there's this very special tailor for government officials in the old days when they had kings and all that. So he would ask, besides measuring the person, he would say, what title do you have? What position do you hold? And so one customer asked him, I'm curious, is it not enough that the measurements of the person? Why do you need to know the title of the person? And in the old days, the government officials would wear robes kind of like this, that has the front piece and the back piece. And he said, well, if somebody holds a high position, I make the front piece a little longer. So then when he walks, and he rolls it back like this, then the front piece will get a little shorter, and then that will be even with the back piece. You get a picture? Because they're supposed to be even. So he will make it a little longer. Now, for somebody who holds a more humble, lowly position, he'll make the front piece a little shorter. So when he's in front of his superior, he bends so low that the front piece will get a little lower, and that will be even with the back piece. You got a picture? It's a funny story, so please laugh. But these days, when I read the magazines, when I read the news, and I hear that presidents of all these countries, prime ministers and great government officials, literally bend themselves so low to ingratiate themselves, to have some favor from our beloved president. It made me laugh and feel very sad. So this is not an old story. It's a story. It's reality. Maybe in our relationships, some of us have to bend so low just to have some peace or some comfort, material comfort or emotional comfort. In organizations, in communities, even spiritual communities, some of us still have that mentality. We still have to flatter some and put down others. We call that double tongue. And that's a precept for us to practice, not to practice double tongue, to elevate some and put down others for our own benefit. Yeah? So in families, communities, in a nation, amongst nations, honesty is the greatest friend. And I share with young people, you may lie to people, but make sure you are honest to them, to yourselves. Make sure you don't lie to yourselves. Because denial, it's an acronym for don't even know I am lying. We can be in denial. A lot of time when we have an illness, we're in denial, or we become obsessed with it, overwhelmed and obsessed with it. Don't even know I'm lying, or we are not able to be honest and straightforward with each other. And that rots. It's something in us rotting away. The dignity in us. The integrity in us. little by little. And we know when it happens. And it doesn't matter what kind of favors we enjoy. Deep inside, we lose that self-respect. So, going back to what's great and greater and greatest, these are not material things. These are things that we cultivate from within. These are the things that we cherish and take good care of, moment to moment, day to day, that we already have in us.